What we wanted to talk about today are about 5 different product families, but I'll at least show you through the rep portal how you can have access to all 16. So for any of you who want credentials, if you use your ACI work email address, we can get you login credentials where you can get into the rep portal of the website. And there are lots of good content here, who to contact, which one of the sales engineers specializes in the different product families. There are lead times that we post here for average size orders, and even discount multipliers for some of our list price products if it's 10 o'clock at night and you need to price something in a hurry. So all of that content is there for you. Again, just use your ACI work email address and we'll get you set up with credentials. Okie doke. Now, here's what I wanted to concentrate on. We'll use this as a basis for the discussions. I'm hoping most of you have seen our new product literature by now. KEES Marketing and KEES Sales, multi-year project to totally revamp all 16 product categories. So there's a lot of useful information in these product brochures, and I just wanted to use them as a basis for our discussion today. Now, Darcy, you and I talked about 5 different product families. I can do them in any particular order. I can start with decorative grills or perhaps Dropbox diffusers. Which would you prefer?
You can start with either one. How about go ahead and start with the grills and then go ahead into Dropbox.
So decorative grills, and each of these brochures are available as a PDF download, or you can view them as a flip snack. Now, since we all know what PDFs are, I thought I'd use the flip snack just so you guys could see the format. Okay, and for any of you who've been around for a while, KEES has been, what do we have next year, Bill? I think it's 50 years in business. But we had the old 70s Brady Bunch logo. It was time for a refresh. So on all of the brochures, you're going to see our new logo high left and the product category in question next to it. And you'll notice KEES Marketing and KEES IT purposely embedded hyperlinks in these brochures. If I were to click on that link, watch where it takes me straight to the KEES website for that given product family, where we have even more information for you. Submittals, catalog, performance, even 3D modeling, Revit files, where we have them available. They're posted to the website. So just keep that in mind. Doke. Now we have a couple of hero images down on the bottom here on the right. So expect to talk about not one, but 2 different subcategories on this particular brochure. I'll flip it over. And for anyone who wants hard copies of these, we are more than happy to send them out free of charge. So just let us know. Now, each brochure is going to have this particular section. We'll call it our elevator pitch. Why should you think about coming to KEES for decorative grills when you have so many choices in the industry? So we try to include some differentiators here. Why should you come to KEES? Why should you think about us for stamped decorative grills? Well, here's a bullet point for you. We do have, over 100, over 120 patterns, but you're not limited to that. You can submit your own design and we'll work with you if you have a new pattern that you want to develop. So that's one good reason, one key reason why you should think about keys for decorative grills. And this particular graphic to illustrate that, custom requests are always welcome at KEES. If you don't see it, that doesn't mean we can't make it. Send us a sketch and we'll get to work on it. But each of the brochures will be chock full of technical details, hoping that you use the brochures as a technical resource. That way you can keep a technical conversation going without having to hit pause on the conversation. Oh, that's a great question, Mr. or Miss Customer, Mr. or Miss Engineer. I'll have to email the factory and get back to you. No, we would rather include the technical details here so that you don't have to rely on contacting us. You can answer your own questions, keep that technical conversation flowing. Not that we're not happy to talk with you. Anytime you want to contact us, please do. But we purposely included a lot of technical details so you could keep the conversation moving. All right, each one of the brochures has a case story. In this case, it was a job I was actually lucky enough to work on. A Catholic cathedral in Boston, where we did individually sized oxidized brass grills, and it was kind of a last minute thing. When the church wants it done by Easter, you can't push the date. There's no such thing as calling the archdiocese and asking them to postpone Easter. So we were able to deliver in a short time period, and that project was a lot of fun. It is hard for us though to pick just one case story. Again, we're coming up on 50 years in business next year, so we also for each product brochure list other high-profile installations so that you and your customers can be confident. Hey, KEES has product in some pretty important places. Anyone ever heard of the Empire State Building? Right? Or the Supreme Court or O'Hare International Airport? So
that's pretty cool.
We try to include we try to include some notables down here for you. All right, and also last section I'll show you here is we have related product solutions. So if you're in a conversation about decorative grills, that may lend itself to a conversation on architectural bar grills, or maybe convector cabinets or access doors or panels. And you'll notice my mouse changing. These are also more embedded hyperlinks. And if I click on them, they take me again straight to the KEES website for that given product category, where again you have all the goodies, submittals, catalog, performance, and 3D modeling files there for you. So before I gravitate away from decorative grills, does anyone have any question about decorative grills? I'll at least use this hyperlink again one more time to show you on our website, 120 patterns is what we mentioned before. What I'll do if I'm in a conversation with an architect or an engineer, maybe a custom home builder, and they're not sure of which pattern they're interested in, you can actually click this button to download all of our patterns in a single PDF. Now these are, miniaturized, scaled down, but this is a good tool download and email around if you have a customer who's kind of on the fence with which pattern they're interested in. So wanted to make sure I showed you guys that. Any questions about decorative grills? Sometimes that will lead itself to a question about finishes. And we also have on our website right here. Sorry for all the scrolling. Hope I'm not giving anyone a headache. But we also have digitally our finish chart too, if that helps you in your conversations.
I have a question.
Yes.
For you
Sorry.
For your custom, I have a couple of high-end home builders and architects that I work with that are constantly asking for something out of the ordinary. So typically, what is the production time on something that's maybe already a pattern that they like, but a different dimension that's not normally stocked?
So regarding the stock question, every product starts as a flat sheet or flat bar stock. So for me, there is no custom.
Okay.
When we here, and I'll illustrate the point by showing you this bullet point here. When we set up our shop machinery, it's down to the thousandths. So for me to make a grill that's 11.832 is just as easy for me as making a grill that's 12 exact. So the sizing doesn't scare me at all.
Okay.
If it's a new pattern, then we'll probably exchange a few CAD files, to make sure how do I say that, the manufacturability. When I take your CAD file and translate it to my machinery. So we'll just make sure that everything communicates there. And then we can laser cut the pattern on whatever material you require, whether it's steel, aluminum, stainless steel, brass, or bronze. And away we go.
So those are the commodities that you typically use. For example, some of the restaurants that we do like plastic because they're easy to clean. Is plastic in your wheelhouse?
Yeah, we can do that. It would be a water jet cut as opposed to laser. You have to worry about the heat. But no, that could be an option too.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question, and thank you for asking it right when it comes to you. I like the back and forth. It makes the meeting a lot more interesting than just the Steve at KEES monologue. So so thank you, and keep them coming. Keep the questions coming.
Hey, Steve.
Anything else on decorative grills? Yes.
Yep. Hey, Steve, this is Kurt. I know we spoke many times in the past,
Kurt.
but so yeah, obviously nothing, as you stated, you guys will do whatever you want, but make sure everybody understands there's really no such thing as stock for these products. You're building them on demand. But the one thing I'm curious about is finishes. What's in-house and because I know obviously if you do some exotic, Muntz, brass, bronze kind of finish, it's going to take more time. What affects, I guess, lead time, and what can you do in-house, and what actually has to be sent to somebody like an anodizer when you're doing something like that?
Right. Good question, Kurt. So anything painted, we're going to do in-house. Anything satin, we do that in-house, or mirror polished in-house. Anodizing is an off-site vendor process for us. So you'll see that the anodized finish adds a few weeks to the lead time, as well as oxidizing if it were a brass product or a bronze product, and they want to artificially age the brass or bronze to make it look old-fashioned, then that too is an outside vendor process for us, which would add a few weeks. And let me get back to our website where I can actually put some numbers out there for you. So we'll look at lead times. And for decorative grills here, oh, let me expand this. Maybe that's a little easier to see now. So decorative grills, if it's an existing pattern or an in-house finish that we're prepped for 4 weeks, if it's a custom pattern or a finish that's not readily available for us, just give me a few more weeks. Can you guys can see that? Does that answer your question, Kurt?
Yeah, no, that's great, Steve. It's perfect. Thank
Okay. You. And the fine print there, notes number 3 and 4. Okay, standard pattern. We're going to have that on the website. And then the more popular things that we're doing in-house, whether it's mill finish or satin, and also clear lacquer and white paint. But we also have offline paint line where we can have custom color matches and things like that, where you just might want to give me a couple more weeks to get the custom color match paint in-house, and then away we go. Very good question.
We had someone write in a question and ask if we are able to get the BIM or Revit files for slots or other product on the web store or on your website.
Yes, everything that I have, Darcy, would be posted on the website. If you see a product without the Revit file icon there and you're in need of Revit files, please contact us and we'll see how quickly we can get those turned around for you.
Great, thank you.
So for that, if you don't mind, Darcy, any other questions on decorative grills? Because I wanted to use the Revit question as a segue.
I say go ahead.
All right, good. So let's go to Dropbox Diffusers. Again, I'll use the flip snack. And again, I just wanted you to know that here's the consistent format, new logo, high left, product category right next to it, which is, as you can see from my cursor, a hyperlink. If I click on it, sure enough, takes me to the KEES website for that given product. And this is what I wanted to show to illustrate the point for the Revit question, the modeling question. These are our Dropbox diffusers. And you'll see that for all of the models, we already have the Revit files available. If you do not see the BIM object icon and you're in need of it, just let us know. sales@kees.com is a good email address to use. It's continually monitored by at least 2 people every day. So you don't have to worry about the email getting lost in cyberspace. No, it's continually monitored every day by at least 2 people, not just 1, but 2. sales@kees.com. Hey, and as long as we're here on Dropboxes, you see the new badge here. We've been making 6-sided Dropboxes for a while, but we wanted to make it official and convert that design to black and white. So here's our submittal for a true hexagonal Dropbox. This particular model also has the separate drain pan included. You might see this in a food processing or pet food processing environment, where we'll offer it in 304 or 316, in addition to galvanized or aluminum if it were a dry side project, warehousing, distribution, And if that were the case, then obviously you're not going to need the drain pan. But I just wanted to use that as an excuse to show you the functionality of this submittals icon. We also have performance documentation here. We have set sizes where we'll give you the pressure drop, the throw, and the NC levels, you know, for a given size. Correction factors down here too, if you need to use those. But let's get back to the Dropbox brochure. I'll flip it over. Again, same format. 30-second elevator pitch. I can get Dropboxes from multiple places. Why should I think of KEES for Dropboxes? Well, here's a bullet point for you. Yes, I have an extensive laundry list of standard sizes, but if you're in a tight facility and I have to manufacture to certain dimensions, whether they're standard or non-standard, it's okay by me. You know, sometimes you might have process piping getting in the way, or the drop boxes, they have to fit in a, you know, it could be a number of things. It could be structural steel, what have you. This bullet point is just there, and I like to point that out to people. I can make drop boxes to any dimensions you need. Okay. And again, here's that dimensional graphic to just illustrate that point. Custom requests are always welcome at KEES. Just tell us what you have in mind. And for drop boxes, again, on the dry side, you might see galvanized or aluminum, you know, whether it's retail or warehouse distribution. But then again, in a wet environment where they're having wash down, you know, third shift is wash down for food prep, food facilities, then yes, we offer them in stainless steel. And this is funny. Our standard sizes, yes, they're cataloged up to 70,000 CFM as far as an established size. But again, if you have something higher, all you have to do is let us know, and we'll work with you on the design for that. Just some graphics. I like how marketing worked to put in graphics, because they help tell the story. They help illustrate and communicate. So I appreciate the graphics. And then some more technical details. Yes, we can put single or double deflection grills in there, or registers if you wanted dampers behind them for volume control. Same thing with drum louvers, whether you want aluminum or stainless drum louvers, we can do that too. Case story of Amazon. And if for some reason you're not familiar with Amazon, well, maybe you're familiar with Frito-Lay or Mazda, Toyota, or Planet Fitness. Again, just, you know, high profile name drops for you so that your customers will be confident that KEES has product in important places. And then again, if you remember the related products, if we're talking about air handlers, or I'm sorry, if we're talking about drop boxes, we may talk about air handlers or stainless steel grills or even industrial hoods. And you'll notice again, those hyperlinks, even if you were to download this brochure as a PDF, the hyperlink functionality remains. So any questions on drop boxes?
No questions here.
Well, I'm sure there has to be something. I'm not that good. Someone have a question before we navigate away? Here's one. I'll at least illustrate technical details. Sometimes you may see a specification where they're very specific, and they want all seams to be continuously welded, not stitched every so often, but from point A to point B, continuous weld. Yes, we offer that. In a refrigerated environment, that drain pan that I was showing you before, we actually offer a heated drain pan just to prevent ice from building up, to keep that water flowing. So just wanted to show everyone that available option. Okie doke. All right, if going once, going twice, sold, why don't we move on to industrial hoods? Is that okay, Darcy, or you want to go somewhere else?
Nope, go ahead.
All right, I'll use this hyperlink in the Dropbox brochure just to go straight to the website for industrial hoods, where again you'll find submittals, catalog information, and modeling, 3D modeling Revit files if you need them. Why don't I use this? This will also take me to the product brochure. Okay. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, are you guys seeing the familiar layout here?
Yes, we can.
There you go. All right. Expect us to talk about 3 different subcategories for industrial hoods on the backside when I turn this over. Make that a little larger for you. Well, I can get industrial hoods from a number of places. Why should I think about KEES? And this was the bullet point that I wanted to find to illustrate. Our shop machinery is set to thousands. When our layout team is done with an order, it's laid out to that 3rd digit. So any size you need. Don't worry about it being weird or custom. For us, it's no problem at all. So I like showing people that bullet point there. And again, that graphic, if you don't see it, it doesn't mean I can't build it. All you have to do is send me a sketch. We'll get to work on it for you. And then all the technical info that you can rely on to keep a technical conversation going, such as what materials do you work with, what kind of finishes are available. And then again, we expected to talk about 3 subcategories. So overhead hoods, slotted hoods, and then integrated solutions where we might use a couple of these in conjunction with each other, or integrated as part of a paint booth or an inverted welding table. But do we have any questions on overhead hoods?
Just a quick one on the slotted hoods. Can those be made adjustable?
Yes, that's a great question. Thank you, Aaron. So for the slotted back shelf hoods, let me see if I can get a submittal opened for you. There's a welding table. Yeah, I think it might be better if we do this particular submittal. Yeah, that might be a little better. Okay, so can we make these adjustable? The answer is yes. You would like to, Aaron, at some time adjust that S as in Sierra dimension to have one slot, maybe a different dimension from another?
Correct, yeah.
Yes. Yep. That is available for us. We can have this gap be adjustable in the field. And also, number one, you gain the flexibility and the adjustability that you wanted, but also it's adjustable to the point of complete removal for when you want to get inside here to clean out. If there's ever any particulate or anything down here you want to clean out from time to time. So yes, to answer that question, we can fabricate these, and we do all the time to make these gaps adjustable. You know, Aaron may want higher velocity here and lower velocity up here, or vice versa. But that's a very good question, Aaron, and that's good. That's a good feature to build into welding hoods if you're going to specify them. If there's any variability in what you're going to work on in this workstation, adjustable slots is something important to consider. Great question. Thank you for asking that.
Now, and what you just described, that's really kind of keeping the same open slot area, correct?
No, it would actually reduce the slot area and therefore increase the slot velocity for each one of these. We're going to call it 1, 2, 3, 4 different slot openings. So if I were to slide these down,
Well, if you slide them down, you're just going to make the lower gap smaller and the upper gap bigger.
Right.
When you said adjustable, I was picturing like some kind of, bar in front of the baffle that you could, slightly move up and down to block off a specific baffle.
And to describe it better that way, Mark, yes, that's exactly what it is. It's a separate guillotine. It's just not shown here. So to your point, it will change the amount of total open area. It doesn't keep it the same. If you wanted to back off the other ones to keep the total area the same, you could, but it's a separate guillotine, a separate blade that goes in front of each of the slots that can be moved up and down.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yes, definitely.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. Great question, and good commentary. Anything else? As long as we're here.
Can you talk a little bit on welding tables and kind of what you can do if there's enough time and if people are okay with that? I think that looked kind of awesome when I saw a picture flash by.
Sure. So, and again, when you can do so much, it's really hard to encapsulate it all in just one drawing. But we can use this to help facilitate. We do offer side skirting if that's something that the specifier would like to consider. Also, we can put in adjustable pedestals there so you can level things. We can make the vertical members either at a tubular steel or angle. I mean, we have lots of flexibility here. Typically, you'll see these painted when before they go out, and available in all kinds of materials too. Any other questions on that, Aaron?
No, that was good for me, seeing that those sides can be removable. Just, when you're talking a larger shop, welding shop, having those tables be able to open potentially or not be there is pretty key for the shop teachers, and just having the ability of knowing KEES can make something like that is super helpful for me.
Sure. And I'll be honest with you, I've seen lately where engineers will specify these to be hinged, so they can fold out of the way if you're having to work on something that's larger than the table itself, you know, it wouldn't be possible if these side skirts were fixed. So be on the lookout for that in specifications where the detail will show these to be hinged so you can fold them out of the way if there's something larger that's going to overhang the table ends. Good stuff. Anything else before we move on? All right. If you think of anything, we can always revisit. How about that? Why don't we go to our K-slot diffusers? Is Eric Brady on the call?
No, he's out this week.
Oh, Eric's my man. In case you guys don't know, you're stocking our K-slot diffusers. And Eric is usually who I see the orders coming in through. So someone will have to pass that on that I said hi to Eric Brady. So here's our product brochure for our slot diffusers, plenums, and frames. This category lumps those three together. Logo high left, product category here to the right of it. And expect us to talk about, you see 3 hero images, we're going to talk about 3 subcategories. All right. I can buy slot diffusers from many places. Why should I think of KEES? Well, what about this bullet point? Did you know we make these out of stainless steel? There are a few jobs a year. I usually see it as pharmaceutical, where they will want a single piece plenum diffuser and it'll be made out of stainless steel. That's not something that you can find readily available everywhere. So just keep that in mind. Now here's something else. Did you know that we'll curve plenums for you? So it could be even to fit someone else's slot diffusers. You're in a time crunch. You need something fast because they're coming in with the sheetrock and they're about to cover up. And the manufacturer in question can't meet the deadline. Well, give us a call. You send me the cut sheet on the slot diffuser in question, and I can make a plenum to fit someone else's slot. And again, even curved. So keep us in mind for that. The K-slot is our single piece plenum slot diffuser with the wiper blade pattern deflector. This cross section is actually what you guys keep in stock in Seattle. And in case you guys were wondering what in the world is Eric Brady buying. So this is a cross section of that. And typically for you guys, they are 2-footers, 4-footers, but then someone in town must like 28 inches. There must be some special grid out there. I don't know, maybe Kurt Frick knows who it is, but you guys will also keep a 28-inch long slot diffuser in stock. And also, for that matter, the surface mounting frames to match in case it isn't a lay-in grid. Maybe it's a sheetrock ceiling. Yes, we will make frames to fit our own diffusers, but also anyone else's. So keep that in mind if you're in a pinch. Maybe someone thought the job was going to be lay-in and come to find out it's surface mount, and you don't have time to reorder all the air distribution in the right framing. If if surface mounting frames are an option and you need them fast, think of KEES. We might be able to help you out. Okay, the plenums themselves, we'll typically see them hemmed, but we also offer a raw edge or a flanged, whether that's flanged in or flanged out. This is typically what you'll see in extruded aluminum slot diffusers, that the hemmed edge, it'll have a U-shaped bracket that slips up in here. And that's what that U bracket bites into that hemmed edge, and that's what pulls the diffuser tight to the ceiling. Hey, any questions on slot diffusers or plenums or frames?
Quick question on the frame style. Do you guys have the mud and tape border, if that's ever an application that the architect wants?
Mud and tape border, you would typically see that, or what I've seen is that's on the face of the slot diffuser itself.
Yes.
And this is the plenum behind it.
Okay.
Yep, this would be for the plenum behind it.
Okay, I guess I was looking at the initial talk of the slot diffusers in general.
Right. And so that would be the slot diffuser that we fabricate is our one-piece plenum slot. As I'm circling here with my cursor.
Okay, I was just looking at the mounting style. If we wanted a mud and tape framed border, is that
on the plenum itself?
Well, it'd be part of the frame, right?
We could do it.
If there's I was just curious if it was available. Great, thank you.
Yeah. We'll actually do that for the next product, linear bar grills. And actually the first product we talked about, our decorative grills, sometimes will be specified with a mud-in frame. So the answer to that is yes, we could even do that here for plenums if you wanted to. Or that face of the slot diffuser, if you wanted it, sure, we could do it. That's a great question. I appreciate that.
Yes. So to be clear, you don't actually provide the actual slot diffuser itself. You just provide the plenum to, put on the top of the slot or the frame, but not the actual slot diffuser with the adjustable blades?
Correct. So I'll use model numbers, Titus ML. Does that ring a bell?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so the ML portion would be by others. I can build the boot section or the MPI for you if you need it in a pinch, because of the standard lead time from the factory, might be 4 to 6 weeks and your sheetrocker's coming in 2 weeks. That's a problem. So I can make the insulated plenum for you quickly, get that roughed in before the sheetrockers come.
Okay, now this makes more sense to me. Thank you.
No, again, great back and forth. Great question. I appreciate the interaction. Any other questions on single piece plenum slot diffusers or plenums for other people's slot diffusers or frames? Surface mounting frames, lay-in frames for a sheetrock ceiling. Any other questions?
So if we want to order a custom one, we can get a damper handle in the actual round coming off of those as well.
For the plenum itself?
Yeah, for the plenum itself.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Why don't I do this? Forgive me clicking around.
You're fine. I asked earlier about the Revit files. I don't see them in there for the slots. That's why I asked. It'd be nice to have some of the basic K slots we use quite a bit. There's no Revit files in there for those. So
if there's
they can change.
If there's a need for them, I'm happy to add those to the workflow, to the list. And so Michael, your question was, could we do, did you say it?
Yeah, damper. That's right. That's what I was looking for.
Yep.
Making sure we still have the damper in there. You can do.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
And the larger the size, it ovals it down. Okay.
Correct. And and here's the unique thing about ACI, when you order for stock, when Eric Brady orders for stock, ACI likes a true round collar. And I'm sure that's because your contractors would prefer a true round collar. So I do not have a limit on that. If it is a true round collar, all I need to do is increase my H dimension to give you that true round. So where the standard height might be 11 5/8, and you wanted a 12-inch collar, well, all I have to do is come to this height, 15 5/8, and then I have enough room to give you a true round.
Right. Okay. Perfect.
And also, ACI specifies that the collars shall be centered, whereas sometimes manufacturers will offset those collars so you can package them a little tighter. But those are two things for ACI, a true round collar and that it be centered. So good stuff, good question. We've also had a call for remote cable operated dampers where we'll put the damper in the collar, but bring the cable through and mount it here.
Yeah, that's
so
what
that it's accessible. Yep, accessible from the floor when you do not have access above the ceiling. Good stuff. Good stuff.
I noticed on the, I think it was a previous page, there was a call out for the narrow T grid option. Is that just adding some dimples to the plenum to make sure it stays centered or stays within the grid itself?
So we offer a lot of different frames. Yes, the previous submittal that I had open was for your traditional 15/16 T, but we'll also do tegulars where they drop down, and or just a regular narrow T where we have to change the end treatment to make sure everything fits.
I don't think it's shown there. I thought on the previous page it did say something about the 9/16. Yeah, actually right there for use with 15/16 or 9/16. Okay.
Right.
And the only reason I bring this up is some of my recent projects, occasionally there's the 9/16 narrow T grid, which I know we use Shoemaker lay-in ceiling diffusers, and they have a narrow T option, which adds some dimples so that it doesn't move around as much within the grid. So I was just curious how these accommodated the same issue in a narrow grid installation.
Gotcha. Yeah, for us there, it would be this leg that would stick above and be secured. Let me see if I can blow this up. By resting on the top. Are you, Mark, suggesting that there's something going on here with a dimple to help make up that short shelf?
Yes, because I know I saw this issue probably 10 years ago on a project where the architect all of a sudden changed to a 9/16 T, which we didn't know about. So all our diffusers were made for normal 15/16 grid, and we actually, and it was a design build contractor, we actually had to go back in and screw each diffuser to the edge of the grid to make sure that they didn't move enough or float enough within the free opening of that narrow grid and potentially fall out. So so that's why I'm always I always try to make sure people understand that if you ever see a narrow grid ceiling, to make sure that you do specify the correct diffuser for that specific ceiling grid.
Right. And what we will do is we come up above and we're going to support everything at the top of the grid. You'll see no matter what the drop down is, whether it's flush or whether it's, you know, proud, if you will, of the grid hanging down below, my support mechanism is always up on top of the grid, because I would not want to rely on that tiny little shelf to support things. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question, Mark?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Good deal. Thanks again for all the questions and the participation. Good stuff. Good stuff. Any other questions on K-slots before we navigate away? There's one more product category quickly I wanted to touch base on. All right, I guess we'll do it. We'll gravitate away. And the last one is architectural bar grills. Brochure for the bar grills here. You guys know the format by now. I will cheat and use this hyperlink to get to the website. There is something that I want to make sure we talk about. Anyone remember Mark Brown?
Yes.
I enjoyed working with Mark Brown. And for those of you who don't know, Mark Brown and I worked together on Nike's world headquarters. And man, that project was a lot of fun. We have a little write-up about it. But I really enjoyed working with Mark Brown. So ACI installation, miles and miles, 16.5 miles worth of aluminum bar on the Nike World headquarters campus. Big job, lots of fun. And yeah, I just want to, out of respect for Mark, make sure that I mention that, right? Okay. You guys are familiar with the format. Why should I come to KEES for bar grills when you can get them in lots of other places? What about this bullet point? I'll make a single piece grill 96 by 48. That's not something you're going to see on every street corner. Or again, that reminder, this bullet point. When our shop machinery is set up, it's set up to the thousandths. When KEES layout is done laying out a project, we go to that third decimal point. So whatever size you need, we can fabricate. And that includes curving them.
Just a economics question. I mean, yeah, that 96 by 48 is, you know, definitely not a size I've ever seen in single piece, but how much extra does that cost to ship? Does that require like a freight shipper and not, you know, UPS or FedEx or?
Yeah, UPS won't carry anything, or I say they won't. It would be cost prohibitive to ship something 48.96 by UPS, but LTL carriers handle that routinely. So that's, you know, 48 wide. We can stand them up. If there's more than one, package them, you know, crate them up together. Does that answer your question, Mark?
Yeah, I was just looking between the, you know, a little bit higher shipping cost versus field fabricating, you know, two 48 by 48s into a 96 48.
Right.
You know, curious what the trade-off is, which one's cheaper at the end of the day, you know, install cost. So.
Right. Well, and that's something we're happy to look at when it comes to bid time. If you would like to see two numbers, we can definitely do that, because you'll have your portion of it. What are your labor installation implications there? And then you can do the math and figure out what works better for you. You usually, Mark, in something like this, it's architecturally driven. You know, the architect doesn't want to see two frames, or they want a single piece solution. If you do decide you wanted something like that split, we can actually fabricate it where it's just the bars that meet up in the middle, so that when it does go together in sections, it still looks seamless, single piece. So
yeah,
that's an option.
You'd have the little alignment strips to line up the bars on both halves. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll align things not by an alignment strip, but we'll have bolt holes in the sleeve that you can bolt it together in the field from the backside, so that you won't see anything. It'll look seamless. And that's what a lot of what we did with the Nike job. Some of those grills were 252 or so in total length. So we had sections that were, you know, bolting together in the field. Good question, though. Good question. All right, I'm keeping an eye on the time. I'm going to have to talk fast. Hey, if you need shapes, we do them all day long, every day. So it doesn't need to be square or rectangular. If the architect or the engineer is looking for a shape, we're happy to do it. That includes mitered corners. How about our case story here? Anyone ever heard of Yale? If you look very closely, you'll see stainless steel bar grills in the floor, and they were radiused to follow the glass all the way around this commons area. So we're happy to work on the hard ones. Makes it fun. All right. Hey, any questions on architectural linear bar grills?
Thanks for showing us all of these. There's definitely things that you guys can do that other manufacturers cannot do.
Well, I really appreciate everyone tuning in. Happy to answer any other questions you have. Remember, sales@kees.com. We'll respond as soon as we can to your email, or you can give us a call. Phone numbers on the website, 920-876-3391. Thanks again so much. Darcy, I really appreciate you putting this together. This has been great.